So the time of year has rolled around where it is hunting season, and my husband has killed his first deer for the year. We ground everything up into deer burger. We take some beef fat and ground it into our deer, and then we butterfly our steaks and we vacuum seal everything. We make sure we put all the dates on everything so we know exactly how old the meat is in the freezer whenever we take it out. So this year I actually wanted to make some broth out of the bones. This is basically the first time I actually done this. Usually deer season, between my husband and I, we're both hunting and we are just always in a hurry trying to get all of this processed. It's so much work. One deer usually takes us about 3 hours to process. So you can imagine both of us hunting and getting all the deer cut up. So we usually don't really have time to make broth. But this year I'm going to make broth and going out to the garden, and I'm going to cut all of my herbs out of the garden, what I can find right now. And then I'm just going to put everything into a big stock pot and let it simmer for 2 days. So there's really no right or wrong way of making broth. I just like to put a bunch of vegetables in mine and a bunch of herbs. And I put a little bit of apple cider vinegar just to pull out the nutrients more out of the bones. And the longer you let this boil for, the more nutrients just comes out of those bones. So I did this for 2 days straight, and then I ended up putting it into the refrigerator after it cooled down. And then that's when all the fat comes up to the top, and then I scrape all of the fat off just because I don't want too much fat, because there was a lot of meat on these bones still, and this actually produced quite a bit of fat. So 2 days later, I had some extra time this morning and I actually started a new quilt just because the garden has slowed down some, and now I have all this extra time to start a new project. I'm so excited. I'm just a person that has to stay busy constantly, so I'm always doing all kinds of different projects at one time, it seems like. But here I'm actually working on an Irish chain quilt, and I'm going to try to make it a queen size so it can fit my bed. And I actually never have really fully finished a quilt before. I always piece quilt tops together, but I never fully go to the quilting part. So my plan is to actually finish this one all throughout. I'm so excited. So every week I just work on a row at a time so I don't overwhelm myself. So getting back to the deer broth this morning, it's been 2 days later. I've had it in the refrigerator overnight so the fat can all come up to the top. I do like some fat, usually in my chicken broth though, but this one had so much fat in it, I just removed as much as I could. But you can see here that it gelled up really nicely in the refrigerator, and this just means that it has a bunch of collagen in it and it has so many nutrients that came out of the bone. So this is like the perfect consistency. So all the nutrients in here is good for your digestive health, your joints, your bones, your skin, hair, nails. And there's also other benefits like blood sugar and energy levels. Bone broth is really rich in calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus, and it's easily absorbed into the body. Just make sure you do your research, because bone broth is actually really healthy for you, and it's really simple to make. So later on that morning, we had a birthday party and a pumpkin carving with our cousins that night. So I was in charge of making a Halloween dessert. So I'm just making some Rice Krispie treats right here. You can never go wrong with Rice Krispie treats. My older son actually has a dairy problem, which the butter in this doesn't really affect him. It's more of like milks and cottage cheese and cream cheese. So I made that for him, and then also my husband loves Rice Krispie treats with peanut butter in them, so these ones actually have peanut butter. And I made them look like a fall pumpkin, nothing perfect, it's just for the kids, something that they'll enjoy, and just the memories being made that night is all that matters. So my second dessert, I ended up just whipping together my chocolate cake that I always make every year. And I was in such a hurry that my icing started curdling up just because I didn't let the butter go to room temperature because I ran out of time. But it still ended up tasting really good. I am no artist at all, but I do love to bake and I love to make holiday treats. So this is just for the kids. The most important part is the memories of their childhood. So every week I have been going out and checking on my brassicas to make sure, you know, they weren't ready to be harvested. And I'm telling you what, within a week, I didn't really notice these cauliflower heads, and all of a sudden, when I went out there this morning, it was just like, oh my gosh, I really need to harvest all of these before they start bolting. So this is a beautiful head of cauliflower. I mean, it's probably my biggest one that I have out of this whole entire row, but I am so blessed that I got this many cauliflower this year. I honestly didn't take good care of my brassicas this year like I should have. We had just been getting 90 to 80 degree weather and just keeping up on watering it all every day, but you know, they did really well. Cauliflower is actually pretty easy for me to grow here, and also cabbage. You just gotta stay on top of it and make sure that they're getting watered and fertilized. The whole family's out here today helping me harvest. There's a few that I'm gonna leave behind just because I'm gonna let them mature a little bit more and see what they'll do. So I'm gonna take all of these and blanch them and put them to the freezer. And then my kids are working on taking all of the cauliflower leaves, putting them into the wheelbarrow because we're gonna take them off to the cows to eat for a snack. And then I noticed last week I had some cabbage that were fully ready to be harvested, and I wanted to get these out because we have been getting really hot weather and I didn't want them to start splitting. So they were so beautiful. Can't wait to show you guys here in just a second. So nothing ever goes to waste around here. We're picking up all the leaves and the scraps and we're going to give them to the cows to eat. Then I'm going to clean up this row and let the rest of the heads form on these cauliflowers I'm leaving behind because they are a different variety, and I'll be checking on them every other day. Look at these beautiful heads of cabbage. It just stuns me every time when you go from a very small seed to this beautiful vegetable that you can eat. God's creation is just absolutely stunning. So we are so blessed this year. We have amazing heads of cabbage this year, and we're just gonna go ahead and pick a few today. Some of them still need to mature a little bit more, but a lot of these are starting to slightly bolt just a little bit, so we're just gonna go ahead and cut some of these off. Some of these are just absolutely beautiful and they're round, and just cannot wait to either make sauerkraut with these, or I actually blanch them and freeze them like I do everything else. So we haven't had hardly any rain in the past couple months, and what we do get is just barely any. So a lot of this has been relied on well water, and honestly they did just fine. But here in the next couple days we actually are going to get a lot of rain coming in. I have to watch these really closely because they can start cracking and splitting just because you get too much rain on these cabbages. They won't hold up very well. So that's something that I got to keep my eye on, because I am going to leave a lot of these into the ground and mature still, because I have another variety that's completely different. It's a longer variety, so it won't be done until 2 or 3 weeks. So I just got to keep my eye on that. But I'm really excited to get some rain in the forecast. We have been needing rain so bad, so excited about that. So I'm going to cover up all these rows back up with my netting and keep them protected from bugs eating at my brassicas. And because I have noticed that something has been eating one of my cabbages, so I'm going to cover these all back up, keep them safe, and then just keep my eye on them. So about 2 months ago, I bought a new grain mill where I can mill my own flour. I watched this video, it's like 3 hours long, about the benefits of grinding your own flour and how our store-bought flour is not really good for you. And I will link that down in the description below. If anybody's interested in watching that whole entire video and kind of just seeing the benefits of grinding your own grain. So I have been practicing over and over and over on how to make the perfect loaf of bread, the perfect rolls, and all the things. So I believe I finally got down the perfect loaf of bread. So this has just been such a challenge for me, but I'm practicing over and over because I really just want to get this down, because I haven't honestly bought any store-bought flour since I bought the grain mill. The biggest thing that I actually been working on is the perfect roll. I have this recipe that is just like the perfect roll with store-bought flour, and I'm trying to mimic that same exact recipe but in freshly milled flour. So the only way I can really describe this as, I'm used to my fluffy tender roll, and then when you have the bran and the germ into your freshly ground flour, it's kind of more heavier. So I'm trying to mimic that fluffy tender bread. The rolls actually still turn out really good. It's just getting used to the heaviness of the bran and the germ. So God actually meant for us to eat the germ and the bran all together for the vital nutrients and minerals that we need for our body. And a lot of people actually have testimonies of whenever they start eating this bread after so many months, their health conditions get better. So go into that link that I'm going to put down in the description below and look at the testimonies that they have on their page. Really interesting. This brings me to my last project in this video. So I have been popping into stores and antique stores, and I've been seeing these really cute pedestal stands, but the prices of them are just so expensive. So I went to Hobby Lobby one day and actually found all the parts that I need to make one. So I found these really cute wooden balls and then this already made round piece of wood, and then I just had my husband drill out these holes and put the little wooden legs on them. So we found out pretty quickly that this piece of wood was not perfectly round, so we honestly had to just eyeball where to put these wood balls. And then I took it out to our garage and immediately started staining it. I used Early American stain. It's one of my favorite stains. So after I got done staining the little stand, I took it to this big rock that we have by our front porch to let it dry, and luckily it was really windy that day, so it dried pretty quickly. So this project really costed a little over $20 when you include both of the pieces of wood and the stain. So I can see why a lot of these stands are really expensive in stores, but this turned out so cute. I cannot wait until you guys see the very end. I ended up just styling it really simple just to kind of show you guys on what it looks like, and it's so adorable. So comment down below if you guys enjoyed this video today. I sure appreciate you guys watching our videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you guys on the next video.